Why do we feel guilty? Even when we've done nothing wrong, have you ever apologized for something that wasn't even your fault? You're late to meet a friend and you say sorry for the traffic, your partner's sad, and somehow you feel responsible. What's going on in your brain? Why do we feel guilty for things completely outside our control? Stay with me, because the answer is weirder and more human than you think. Let's start here. Guilt isn't always about what you actually did. Sometimes guilt is about what you think you should have done. Psychologists call this responsibility inflation, and it's everywhere. Imagine your colleague gets rejected for a promotion. You weren't on the hiring panel. You had nothing to do with it. But if you've ever been close to someone who struggled, you know that feeling, that creeping sense that maybe you should have done more. Maybe you should have recommended them earlier. Maybe your support wasn't enough. Your brain is doing something called outcome responsibility. It's linking your presence in someone's life to their outcomes, even when the connection is invisible or non-existent. We do this because we care. We do it because we're wired to believe we have more control over the world than we actually do. Here's the second thing. Many of us grew up in environments where we learned that our job was to keep the peace. Maybe a parent was unpredictable. Maybe a sibling's mood could shift the whole house's temperature. These kids learn early that they're responsible for managing other people's emotions, so they grow up feeling guilty almost automatically when someone around them is upset, even if the upset has nothing to do with them. I knew someone like this. Her dad would have a bad day at work and come home grumpy. She'd immediately feel anxious. Had she done something wrong? Years later in therapy, she realized she'd internalized the belief that his moods were her job to fix. That's how guilt embeds itself, through patterns we learn as children. The third insight is about empathy. Empathy is beautiful. It's what makes us human, but empathy without boundaries can become toxic guilt. When you deeply feel another person's pain, your brain can blur the line between their experience and yours. You start thinking, if I can imagine their suffering, maybe I'm somehow responsible for it. Psychologists call this empathic distress. It's like your mirror neurons are firing so hard that you can't tell where they end and you begin. Someone posts about struggling with anxiety online and you feel guilty for having a good day. A friend tells you about their family conflict and you spiral, feeling guilty for having a peaceful home. Your empathy is making you take on their emotional weight. Now, here's the fourth piece. Some of us are perfectionists. We have these impossibly high standards for ourselves. We believe we should always be available, always be helpful, always get it right. And because we're human and can't actually achieve that, we live in a constant state of low-level guilt. We failed to text back immediately. We didn't help enough. We said something slightly awkward 3 weeks ago. Perfectionism isn't about excellence, it's about the constant belief that you're falling short. And guilt is the emotional tax you pay for that belief. But here's what I want you to know. All of this is fixable. Right now, I want you to try something simple. The next time you feel guilty, pause and ask yourself one question. Did I actually do something? Not, could I have done more? Not, should I have been different? Did I actually do something wrong? Sit with that question honestly. Most of the time, the answer is no, you didn't. You're just human, you're just empathetic, you just care. And that's not something to feel guilty about, it's something to honor. The real lesson here is this. Guilt is useful when it tells you you've genuinely hurt someone and you need to repair it. But most of the guilt we carry is noise. It's your brain trying to protect you, trying to give you control in a world where control is limited. So today, try releasing one guilt that isn't actually yours. Notice it, name it, and let it go. You might be surprised how much lighter you feel.